Hey, you ever been to Chancellor Park? That's where I live. My name is Tavin Dillard. I live in Chancellor Park. I mow lawns, mowing, edging, grass cutting legend. I sure am glad to join me here on this podcast. I want to let you know what's going on in my neck of the woods. Now, I started out years ago on the YouTubes and then the TikToks and the Instagrams now and the whatnots. I got the websites, the tavindillard.com, but right now, I want to clue you into what's happening in my neck of the woods on the Tavin Dillard podcast. You here? I'm here. I'm glad you joined me. Now I'm going to send it over to myself. This is like the pre-introduction, but let's get on to the real show today. I'm glad you joined me here. Bank, bank. Hey, y'all guys. Does it feel like a new podcast season to you? Because it is. Welcome to Season 9's Episode 1's of the Tavin Dillard podcast. We into the very merry month of January and the merry year of 2024. Everything been new lately. You know, since the new year started, you got a new month, you got a new year, new kind of things to talk about, new stuff going on in town. Oh, today, I got to talk about a little snow day. Tried to get up to. I got to talk about some clients of mine in the lawn mowing business, but this time of year, you're doing other things for them, like helping them put away their Christmas decorations and things like that. And speaking of Christmas, you know, I really enjoyed the Q&A last week. Got some good feedback on that. Thank y'all for being a part of the old Q&A for the last episode of Season 8. That's a longer one. You know, if you look at a podcast episode of mine, you might see 22, 26-minute long, but that one went over 42 minutes because, well, I was trying to answer all the questions y'all guys sent in, and I hope I did a good job and didn't miss none of y'all. I got an email this week from Jeff, and Jeff was telling me a bacon story. Actually, he titled the email to me "Bacon Blunder" because he had got some Tavin's bacon bag at some point and really put a hurting on it. Said he liked that stuff. And then for the Christmas times, him and his family went to a cabin. You know, like you go to a cabin, but you don't live there, but you're on vacation, so you stay in there for a little bit, like you rent like a cabin, and you go. And he got a hold of Bacon Boise. They the ones that make my bacon bags, and bought like 5 bags of bacon from them. They got mine, and they also got like different flavors, you know, up there, like hot and spicy and whatnot. So anyhow, he got up there, and you got a lot of food, so he didn't get to all of them, and basically, I ain't gonna read the whole email, but they ended up leaving some, because, you know, you packing, you getting out of there, and all of a sudden you way away from that cabin that you don't live at, so you ain't planning on going back to it, and you leave some bacon up there. So that's what he said. I'm just gonna read the very end of his, Jeff's email to me. So I missed out on a good portion of delicious bacon, he say, because he left it at the cabin. Didn't even get to try the hot and spicy variety. That's one of them, which I was really looking forward to. On the bright side, whoever came in and cleaned up the cabin after we left got a nice Christmas surprise. So I felt pretty good about that. Our Christmas was 99% wonderful and 1% bacon blunder. And I call that a win. I'll be reloading on that bacon someday. That's a given. Well, appreciate you, Jeff. I'm sorry that you didn't get to eat all that bacon, but I'm sure it got ate. I mean, nobody's going to find a bag of bacon like that and say, yeah, let's just leave it alone, you know, especially if you're a rental house. You think the people left it for you to eat because you rented it. And then Jeff does say, hope you're doing well. Just listened to the Q&A episode and thought I should share this story with you. Well, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for sharing the story. And now we kicking off episodes 1 of this season. And what I got going on this week, well, check the show notes today, y'all guys, for the stuff that is going on. There's some things you can always kind of see down there, or most of the time I leave the similar links, like the new shirts. Crow Funyun is the newest shirt. The Bank Bank Beanie got sold out. It's back. The Bank Bank hat sold out. It's back. You can kind of peruse the merch store at your leisure. I'll just put that link there. You can see the hoodies and the hats and the tank tops. I mean, before you know it's going to be tank top weather, but it's hoodie weather now, and t-shirts and all that. So anyhow, you'll see that down there. I'll put a link to Tavin's Bacon Bag while we're talking about it down there. You may want some for the New Year's. It is good and easy to put a hurting on. And personal video greetings. You know, everybody got birthdays all year long. It ain't just, you know, Christmas times people need greetings. And, of course, with the Valentine's about a month away now, you may need a Valentine greeting for somebody. So I can handle that for you, you know, so you ain't got to stress out about the Valentine's Day. So here we are. I'm Gene and Raymond Watkins. You probably know them pretty well. I know I do. They some of my clients. They a little elderly couple in town. You know, they live on the same street as Millie Ricks and Hank Thistle. He got a burn pile going year round. She invited me over, and I guess he did too, you know, both of them, to help organize their storage shed, which kind of has to do with just putting away Christmas stuff. So I said, yeah, I'll get over there and help y'all out, you know. But an invite, you know, I say invite like it make it sound like I should count it a privilege, like you got invited. You know, like if you go to your mailbox and you get an invitation in there, paper invitation, and you read it, and it's like you are cordially invited to the whatever. You know, that reminds me, last year, 2023, I think, somebody sent me a wedding invitation. They's getting married in Connecticut. That's a state in the United States. It's up north. And I never responded. But I just want to say now, if they listen to the podcast, congratulations, and sorry I didn't make it. It was a little bit of a hike on my bike to get from Chancellor Park to Connecticut, and I didn't send back that thing. And a lot of them, they put a stamp on it. All you got to do is just take the time to mark yes or no, or if you want chicken or a hamburger for the reception, and I didn't do none of that. So sorry about that to the Connecticut couple. And congratulations, you've probably been married like 6-8 months now. I don't know. Anyhow, it's been chilly where I'm at. I don't know where you are right now, but it's chilly. And I wasn't trying to make this a big ordeal, because reason is I thought I could get over there to I'm Gene Raymond Watkins. They got a food Tupperware things or like boxes to put up in that shed. And I'm out of there, you know, wipe my hands off and keep on walking kind of thing. And Russell Tucker, he's one of my best friends, invited me on a snow trip with his family. You know, him and his wife, they got them boys, Ronnie Keith and little Jesse. And then that also, he was going up there with Morton Dwightell's family, Morton, Glenda, Donna, Dwightell, and they kiddos. So, you know, me, Russell Tucker, Morton Dwightell, we was all going to go to the snow. We're going to have a snow day. So I ain't got time to piddle around Raymond and I'm Gene Watkins' house all day. I don't love the snow. Now, don't hear me say that, like I ain't dying to be in the snow every day or nothing like that, because the snow's cold. And I don't hate being cold, but I don't like being cold for long. You know, I like cold days. I like when the day's cold, but I'm warm, you know, on the cold day, which means maybe I'm inside, you know, under a blanket, or I got on my long breeches and gloves or jacket kind of thing. So, you know how it is. But I don't barely spend no time in actual snow. So I told Russell, sure, I'll go to snow. You know, I need to see. It's been a while. But first I had to handle this I'm Gene Raymond Watkins storage thing. So I'm going over there to their house. I've done this before. In fact, I thought I did a pretty good job helping last year. And I think that's why they invited me back this year. And it'd be easier to put stuff away because I already kind of got it dialed in. So I didn't have to like take down and rearrange, throw out, and reshuffle stuff. I kind of did that work last year, so I know where things go in they shed. Well, I get there, and Raymond invites me into the house. I look to the left in the sitting room because that's where they will usually have me sit there. But nobody was there in the sitting room. I know Raymond just hollered for me to come in there, you know, from the front door. So when I was on the porch, so I know he in there somewhere. Then I look to the right, and what do you know? There's Raymond Watkins sitting on his living room floor like a kiddo on Christmas morning with all kind of little machine parts all around him. Like he ain't fallen down or nothing like that. He's sitting down there on purpose working on this little machinery thing. I look at the box that's next to him and I see the picture. It's one of the boxes got a picture on it. You know how to put a picture, and the picture's basically telling you this is what's inside the box. Turns out it's a remote control plane. You heard me right. Raymond Watkins, 80-something years old, sitting on the floor like he's a little kiddo putting together a remote control plane. Looky here, Tavin, this thing's gonna fly. You know, he called to me like that away. Ain't that something, Raymond? Looks like you got a little more figuring before that thing gets airborne, you know, because he had stuff everywhere. Like it wasn't barely looking like a plane. The reason I knowed it was a plane, because I seen the picture on the box, because the picture they put on the box, it's like done. You know, that's what it's going to look like. Because they ain't going to sell you it if they put a picture, all them parts just scattered on the floor like Raymond had on the box. You'd be like, no thanks. You know, I can make a mess on my own. I don't need to buy a box of messes. But the idea is they showing you what could be. You know, it's the after photo. Like when you see them folks at gymnasiums and they got their pictures up, and like Coach Hicks is starting to do this at Thunder Punch too, like the before and after, and you say the after, and it's like, okay, well now I'm motivated. because I want that after body kind of thing. I want to look like Gataway. Well, they do the same thing on the remote control plane boxes. You look at that and you say, oh, that's what I want. I'm going to be able to build that thing, and I'm going to be flying the most beautiful remote control plane in a matter of minutes. Well, it ain't never a matter of minutes. So I was putting it lightly when I said, you know, you got to do a little more figuring before this thing's get airborne. I mean, Raymond had the body of the plane out, and I ain't sure what all he had to attach, but it definitely wasn't ready to hit the runway yet at all. And of course, with them motor controls, you got to have batteries and figure out how to work the motor itself. Because I mean, if you don't know how to work that motor, then you don't know what button to push or which is left ways and right ways and up ways and down ways. Because it's a little different than just driving a car, riding a plane. Because a car's going to go front ways, back ways, and it's turn left or right. But a plane, it can go up ways, down ways, left ways, right ways, front ways, back ways. So now you got more you operating with, if that makes sense to you know what I'm talking about. So I'm about to head to the backyard. That's what I'm there for, since that was my business. When Raymond looked up and he started waving me down toward that rug where he was sitting. How nimble are your fingers? That's what he asked me. You know, I'm looking at him and I just hear him say that over there to the right where he was sitting. He just said, how nimble are your fingers? Come again, Raymond? He said, your fingers, how nimble are they? I shrugged. I don't reckon I ever took a nimble test for my fingers. Like, I don't know for sure, but they can pick up stuff and they can hold on to handlebars, that kind of thing. And before I knowed it, y'all guys, I'm on the rug helping Raymond follow the instructions for his new remote control plane. And I ain't no Alvin Einstein's when it comes to instructions. That ain't something that's my strength or my specialty. I really prefer not to read instructions, truth be told. Best I can tell, one of their grandkids, Imogene and Raymond's, is into them remote control planes, and one thing led to another. You know, maybe Raymond's like, well, let's get the boy a remote control plane. Then he see how fun it is, and now Raymond's taking up remote control planing himself. That's the best I can tell. Now, I don't mean to sound skeptical, but I spent my fair share time, you know, around remote control things. Mostly cars, but also one little robot that's supposed to bring you Dr. Pepper or any soda. Turns out a full can of Dr. Pepper is too heavy for it and turn that thing upside down or it tipped on its side. Good thing the DP wasn't open yet. That was years ago, but I figured I could do that better myself. You know, just go get the drink out the fridge. You know, by the time I walked to the fridge, get out that Dr. Pepper, set it in its little robot's hand, then go sit back down in the chair with the robot remote control to try to figure out how to make it walk to me. I could have drank 2 Dr. Peppers. But we ain't talking about that right now. Right now, we talking about me somehow ended up on the floor of Imogene and Raymond Watkins' living room, sitting in front of a remote control airplane that Raymond is hoping to fly today. You heard me right. He's hoping that airborne is today. And if I had to guess, as a guessing man, I'm thinking, hey, it should happen in 2024. It should happen this year, Raymond, but I don't know what month. Now, this is the thing about being a lawn mowing man that you may or may not know. These folks is customers of mine, and even if you go there to do a specific job, they might want to talk with you. I mean, you got to be a conversationalist. And if you got to listen. I mean, that's a big part of it, is you ain't really talking, you listening. Now, I don't mind listening, but I do want to get my job done. And I'm starting to wonder what my job is, because I wasn't there to mow a lawn. I know that from the beginning, from the very get-go. I was supposed to help put away stuff in that shed, and now I'm starting to think maybe helping Raymond with this remote control airplane was how I was supposed to help. Like, he seemed to be expecting me to sit down there and help him. I mean, he waving me over kind of thing. Then, all of a sudden, I hear the back door open to their house, and I hear shuffling through the kitchen. And Imogene hollers up to Raymond, Raymond, I don't know where Tavin is. He's supposed to be here by now. I'm freezing out in that shed. Raymond keeps tinkering with that airplane, but I'm steady froze like a deer in headlights at this point. I didn't know that Imogene was out there in that shed just waiting in the cold winter's day for me to show up. So I'm just kind of like, bank, bank. What am I going to do? You know, I was thinking that in my head. I tap Raymond, I say, Imogene's calling you. You know, because I guess he didn't hear her, or at least he didn't respond. Maybe he just used to ignoring her. About that time, she shuffles into the room we was in, and she just hollers, Tavin! So I look at her and I say, hey, Imogene. She said, when did you get here? I was like, a few minutes ago. Raymond wanted some help with this. You know, I point to that plane and that box of parts that's all over the floor. And Imogene brings her little hands up to her mouth and she blows in them, you know, like this way, you know how you blow in your hands when they cold? She shakes her head and then she reveals these cold, purple little curled fingers at the ends of these fingerless gloves she wearing. She got them gloves look like a hobo glove. You know how they wear them, where they can still pick up things off the street, but they cut the fingers out to keep their palms and the back sides of their hands warm, but the fingers ain't covered by nothing. That way you can be more nimble, you know, if you fixing a bike or whatever you're doing. Fingerless gloves basically do that. They keep the back of your hand and the palms all warm, and then everything else is cold. Other than that, your fingers, you know, they on their own in fingerless gloves. But it's good if you got to pick up any little things, like maybe a remote control plane. And she said, well, I like to froze out there, Raymond. Why didn't you send Tavin out? He said, well, he was helping me, kind of thing. Imogene shakes them little fingers of hers, looking like purple little green beans shooting out the end of them fingerless gloves. I steady hoping that color'd come back soon, because I was feeling a little responsible since she was waiting out there for me. I'm going to put on some hot water for some tea. You know, that's what she say. So now, at least she ain't going back outside yet. I felt better that she's going to stay inside and maybe get the color back in her fingers. So she's shuffling off to the kitchen. And I don't know if I stay on the floor at this point or I go help Imogene. Now, after seeing them withered, lifeless little fingers, I felt like I should ditch Raymond and say, hey, buddy, good look at that remote control plane. Take your time. It ain't no rush. There ain't no contest here. And truth be told, I don't know how helpful I was being anyway, you know, to the whole thing. So I got up, and he kept working like he wasn't even paying no attention. That's when I really realized, like I had kind of realized it before, but now I knew that Raymond was 100% in his own world. It is all about that plane. And folks could help or not, but he's going to be working on it either way, all day, every day, for maybe the rest of this year. I don't know his schedule. Of course, he retired, so he got a little time on his hands. Now, I had about an hour at this point before I needed to be meeting Russell Tucker to this snow day to go with him. He's going to drive and the Dwight L's, but after seeing them little, you know, discolored, curly fry-shaped digits on Imogene's hand, I'm rethinking spending any time in a place that's even colder than town today. I'm thinking, if she's out there in her backyard and her fingers turned out that way, what is it going to do to my hands in the snow, you know? And then I just hear, feel my hand. What's that? I think Imogene just asked me to feel her hand. Well, I'm thinking them little brittle fingers might just break off in my hand if I touch them, and I really don't want that on my conscience. I don't want to be responsible for something like that. Folks would ask her, where'd you get them little nubs, Imogene? Oh, Tavin Dillard broke my little snap pea fingers off, she'd say like that away. Feel my hand, Tavin. She said it again. So I snap out of my little daydream as Imogene stands in front of that stove with a kettle on. She's extending this little fingerless glove, withered hand to me, and I can only imagine how cold it's going to be if I touch that little hand of hers. And I just hear her say, Tavin! Okay, here goes. So I reach out there, and I touch her hand, and you ever reached into an ice chest at a 4th of July party and reached to the bottom for the coldest Dr. Pepper, and your hand kind of goes numb? Welcome to Imogene's hand. That thing was so cold, it was almost hot, and my hand got a little wet from touching her hand. Good news is, her little fingers didn't fall off. I can't go back out there, Tavin. That's what she said to me. I don't think you need to, Imogene. Let me go take a look at that out there. I'll go do it on my own. She said, them boxes, they need to go up. Well, I got out there to that shed, and I find 3 of them storage plastic containers. She got Christmas wrote on the side of them, so I know what they's for. I mean, it took me about 37 seconds to put them boxes away. I shut the door to that shed, and then I'm back in that house. Imogene is in there fiddling with a change purse, trying to pull out a $5 bill. She got them cold, wrinkly, pickled metacarpals trying to work the zipper on that change purse. I need to pay you for your time, Tavin, she said like that away. Nah, it's okay, Imogene. Don't worry about it today. Don't even care about it. Just get warm, you know. About that time, the kettle starts whistling, and she pours herself some tea. I may take these gloves off since I ain't going back outside. You know, she said that to me like she realizing, well, them fingerless gloves, you know, they didn't do nothing for my fingers anyhow. And now that I'm inside, I'd probably be okay. You know, she's thinking like that. I don't blame her. So now, Imogene is using one of them little frozen hands to get the glove off the other little frozen hand. And I will say this, she was getting her color back in them. Like they wasn't as purple as they used to be, which was good. I started to think today might not be the day that Imogene Watkins' fingers break off. onto the kitchen floor. Like, there was a time where I thought, well, they're going to be on the floor in no time. But now I'm thinking, hey, they staying on. I think them fingers might just stay put. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I don't know who wants to walk in and see Imogene's fingers on the floor. Not me. And I'm sure Raymond wouldn't know what to do with it. Raymond, maybe he wouldn't even know it. He's deep into that remote control plane building. I mean, I don't know how much progress he's making on, but he's steady focused. I mean, he's dialed in on it. So Imogene offered me some tea, but I declined. I was now dreading getting back to my trailer and waiting for Russell Tucker to pick me up. I ain't got enough warm clothes to live in the snow too long. I don't know how long we was going to be there. You know, if you don't do something much and then you get invited and you think, I mean, whether it's hunting or bike ramping or fishing or going to the snow, I mean, there's certain gear and certain things you expected to have or know about. But if you ain't never done it and you just heard about it, then you got an idea like, oh, hunting, all I need's a vest and a gun. Well, that ain't the truth. I mean, there's a lot more things you need, a lot more planning you have to know. If you're going with somebody that knows, you're going to be better off. But I still didn't know exactly what I needed and how cold it was going to be or what I needed, how I need to dress, because I ain't got winter clothes, you know, like for the snow. All I can do is just keep layering it, you know. I put on a shirt, I put on another shirt, put on a hoodie, put a hoodie on that, put on the beanie, find some gloves, you know, like that away. And then I got work boots. They pretty good with the waterproofing, so I figured, well, that should do the trick. You know, I don't know. You know, I'm just trying to figure that out. But I was on the ATV today, by the way, so I could get back to Chancellor Park a little bit quicker, but I wasn't on the bike. And, you know, when it gets cold, sometimes it get a little bit icy on the sidewalk, and it'll take out a bike pretty quick. ATV did okay. You might skid a little bit, but you ain't going to flip over on your side unless you really cranking it and trying to do some ramping or hitting a ditch or something like that. When I left, though, Raymond was not done. I don't know if that surprised you or not, but he's still working. I don't reckon he's going to stop till he is done. And like I said, that could be months from now. It could be 4th of July, and he'll be just in time for a little patriotic celebration with his remote control plane. I just don't know. And pretty soon, Raymond Watkins, he's going to be an airplane pilot at sometime this year. Kind of a scary thought, but I mean, it's a little plane. So, back in Chancellor Park. The phone in the trailer rang. It's a green phone. It hang on the wall. It was Russell. Hey, Tavin, Ronnie Keith got some kind of cough, and we figured we should do the snow another day. I was like, well, that'll work for me, Russell. I mean, if I really needed any more time in the cold, I heard Myron Curtis was going ice blocking, but sitting on a block of ice and riding it down the hill like a sled, that ain't really my idea of a good way to spend a cold day anyhow. So I rustled up some hot chocolate, warmed my fingers on the cup, glad to be out of them elements, and glad I didn't have to figure out how to get Raymond's remote control plane airborne. I eventually got back out, though. Meemaw had a hankering for a burger, so we picked up Cricket from work in the 91 Buick Regal, Meemaw's, and we got some supper at the burger shed. It's got a facelift. I mean, if you've been watching my videos on the Instagrams or the TikToks or the Facebook or the YouTubes lately, you see that Bud painted it, you know, Burger Shed red, the walls now, and you got the logo on the wall. So, I mean, it's a new look, same food. And I'm glad he didn't mess with the food because there wasn't nothing wrong with that. And Bud will run the heater in the Burger Shed. I appreciate that. And I sure appreciate y'all guys, too. Happy New Year to you. We mid-January now, and I hope it's cranking good for you. Thanks so much for spending just a little bit of your week with me here on the Tavin Dillard podcast. Y'all are great. Check them show notes today for all that's going on, and I hope to see you on the interwebs this week. Stay warm. And hey, if you didn't have to worry about Imogene Watkins' purple, lifeless, withered, pickled, ice-cold fingers falling off on the kitchen floor this week, you having a pretty good week. Me, I'm Tavin Dillard. This is the Tavin Dillard podcast. Till next time, y'all guys. We'll see you later.